I got a question, guys. Let me ask you something. If you already have kids, you got a kid on the way, or you're thinking about having kids, like, serious question. What type of father do you want to be? Let's talk about it. Alright, so you already got kids, got a child on the way, thinking about having kids. What type of father do you want to be? But actually, before I even really ask you that, let me ask you, like, what type of father did you have? What was your father figure like? You know, and if you didn't have a father figure, what was the male role model like in your life? Like, what was the template? What was the example of what a man in a fatherhood role looked like to you? What was that like? You know, even if it wasn't a father, was it like a grandfather, a stepfather, cousin, uncle, older brother, whatever the case? What did that look like to you? What was the pros and cons? What was good? What was bad? What did you pick up? What did you drop off? What did you stay away from? And the reason why I'm asking a lot of these questions is because I think a good majority of men, we do fatherhood backwards. And what I mean by that is we have a child and then we start thinking about being a father. Instead of thinking about the type of father you want to be before you have your kid. Like, think about it like that, like seriously. Because I look at it like this, you know, parents are learning how to parent at the same exact time that kids are learning how to kid. And I think that's important, man. It doesn't matter if you have 4 kids or 5 kids. It doesn't matter if your kid is 15-year-old or 20 years old. When you have a new child, you have to learn how to parent all over again, because none of your kids are the same. No 2 people are the same, not even twins. So I look at it like this. What type of father do you want to be? Like, really think about it. Give it some thought, give it some reflection, put some time and energy and effort into it. You know, do you want to be a cool dad? You want to be a strong dad, you know, that can, you know, handle all the family stuff, or you want to be a dad that can, an emotionally present dad, that when your kid is going through something, that you'll be able to talk to them, you know? And I think for me, like, I never had that consistent, you know, every day-to-day male role model in my life. Never had that. Never had the example of fatherhood and what I wanted it to be in my life, like right up front. I grew up with TV dads, you know, Carl Winslow from Family Matters and Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince. Like, those were like the male fatherhood archetypes, you know. Like, one was funny and goofy, but you know, he also had the experience in life, and the other one was, he was strong, he was firm, but he always had your back no matter what happened, you know. And I think we see what we want to be in other people, and that's how we learn. That's how the outside world influences us and how we grow. But fatherhood is special, you know. It's bigger than you. It's someone else. Like, you have a responsibility, and so in order to properly, you know, meet that responsibility, you need to be your best self. You have to be. Like, you need to figure out who you are. It's weird. Like, you have to figure out who you are so you can be who you want to become. So crazy. But I think fatherhood kind of puts you into that type of role, you know. That's different than even husbandhood, because husbandhood comes and goes, you know. It's not forever. But once you become a father, it's like it's something inside you turns on. It's a different switch there. It's a different switch. So I think that's important. It's huge. You got to give it some thought, man. Like, think about it now before you go out there and start repopulating the world. Like, seriously. Because you're responsible for those people. You're responsible for those children. Like, that's on you. And I'm going to be honest, like, nowadays I see a lot of dads and I see a lot of I see a lot of kids. I see their kids, but it's blurry. The line is blurry. I don't know where the father ends and the son starts because they look the same nowadays. There's no difference in who's the father and the son, because, you know, dad is like 40, 50 years old and he plays video games all day. He wears Marvel t-shirts and read comic books. And the son is 12 years old and he reads comic books and he plays video games all day. But don't get me wrong. Reading comic books and playing video games is cool. That's fine. It just should not be your identity. Like, when I think of you, I shouldn't be, oh yeah, you're real good at video games and you're 40 years old. That's not how you should want to identify yourself when you're becoming a father and you want to be mature and you want to set a tone for your child, especially like your son, because you don't want that cycle to continue. And I think the big problem we have with fatherhood nowadays is just too many man children out there. It's man children everywhere. It's a man child here. It's a man child there. And hell, I used to be one. It took me a minute to grow up and step into some type of mature role, man. Like, you have to see your responsibilities and you got to have that accountability. Someone asked me a question a couple of months back. They said, when does a boy become a man? And I thought about that for a second. I was like, a boy becomes a man when he realizes his responsibilities, when he accepts his responsibilities. However, the manner in which he handles those responsibilities will determine the type of caliber of man he'll become. Because everyone has responsibilities, but how you handle those responsibilities will determine who you are. You know? So when we talk about fatherhood and how do you see it individually, you gotta really think about that. It's too many men out there that can engage and that can easily have sex. Having a child is easy because there isn't the need to fit a standard or a parameter or have these type of elements in place that make you think about fatherhood. You know, that's the crazy part. You can have sex and not think about fatherhood, and that's the problem. There's too many people out here just doing it to do it, but there's consequences. There's big consequences. So I want you guys to really understand, like, think about fatherhood. Think about the type of dad you want to be. What do you want to add? What kind of value do you want to add to fatherhood? It's important. That's your legacy. That's what you leave. Like, your kids, after you're dead and gone, your kids will look back and they will think, how do I remember you? How are they going to remember you? You know? And the crazy part about being a dad, and the genuine part about being a dad, is the fact that you cannot call yourself a good dad. You can't give yourself that title. Only your kids can give you that title. Only your kids can give you that title. And when you get that title, like, it's amazing, man. And it's not easy. It's not easy. It's hard fucking work. It's hard. It's hard. But let me tell you something too. Let me drop a little nugget for you. I'm gonna tell you the secret sauce to being a good dad. Well, that'll make being a good dad easier. Make it easier. You have to match mom's energy. Plain and simple. You got to match mom's energy. Now, it doesn't have to be the same energy. I didn't say be the same. I said match. So if mom's level is right here taking care of the kids, your level got to be right there taking care of the kids. It has to be. It has to be. And I'm sorry, you're going to have to put the work in. You're going to have to do some things that is completely foreign to you. But for you to be a bad dad, a good dad, it's not about you. It's not about you. It's about them. It's super easy to be a bad dad. Very easy. You don't even have to try. Don't even have to try. But being a good dad, like that takes dedication. It takes energy, it takes effort, it takes willpower, determination. It's something that you cannot get by accident. You're not gonna be a good dad by accident. Let me tell you that now. You're not. No matter how easy you think it could be, it's not gonna happen. So matching mom's energy is gonna get you so many steps ahead of the game. Like if you got to get out there, take the kids to a doctor's appointment, you should know their doctor's name. When you take them to school, you should know their teacher's name. Talk to the principal, show your face. Be involved. Be involved. Be that dad that is involved. But guess what? If you think about being an involved dad before you have kids, guess what happens when you have kids? You're going to be involved. It's crazy how that works. It's crazy. But I'm not saying you can't learn it after you have kids. Obviously you can. But it's going to be some pain. It's going to hurt a little bit. It's going to hurt. If you didn't think about being a dad when you have kids, everything you're going to learn is going to be a hard lesson. And you're going to keep seeing those lessons until you learn it, until you pass those tests, until you pass those lessons. Over and over and over, man. I mean, that's life. That's life in general, but damn. Like it's going to be... Being a dad is the best job you can have, yo. It's the best job a man can have. Being a good dad. Being a good dad. You earn it. You earn it, yo. When your kid comes home and says, hey, Dad, I had a really, really good day. I want to tell you about it. And the same thing when your kid comes home and says, Dad, I had a shitty day. Well, he probably won't say that, but I had a bad day. I want to tell you about it. Like, that is huge. That's amazing, To have your kid want to come home and just talk to you. That's huge. So guys, like, seriously, like, think about it. You want to be a good dad? Think about the type of dad you want to be. Think about the type of father you want to be. How would you want to uplift that? The values that you set for yourself, the goals that you set for yourself, How would you want to pass down your legacy after you pass away? Do people want to? Do you want your kids to remember you as, my dad was always there. He took care of me. And guess what? Even if you're not physically there, which is not an excuse anymore. It is not an excuse. And I got it. Like being up front, face to face, is amazing with your children, of course, because that physical time there is very, very, very important. However, being present starts here. It starts here. Thinking about your child when you're not around them, you're not with them. Call and check up on them. See how they're doing. Write them letters if you have to. I know that's old school, but that adds a personal touch to it. Like, we gotta stop as men. We gotta stop muddying the waters with being this alpha male and then trying to be a calm, nurturing, and understanding father. The two don't match. If you think about it, they don't match, because you need to be the type of dad that is going to be nurturing, that's going to be a teacher, that's going to be a provider, that's going to be a leader, that's going to be a mentor. Like, you have to have all that. You have to have all that. You got to be humble. Like, being a parent should humble you, because you get hit with a lot of stuff you didn't think that you could handle, and it gets heavy and you didn't think you could lift it, and then you find out, okay, I can lift it. I can do this. I can do this. But I want to be very, very, very honest with you about something, right? I think being a good dad starts with you being selfish. And don't get me wrong, but when I say being a selfish good dad is like, yo, I really want to take care of my kids. Like, I really want to be present in their lives. I really want to help them the best way I can, as much as I can. I want to pass down all my knowledge and information to them. I want to help them grow. Now, when I say that's being selfish, I don't want you to live for your kids. I don't want you to do that. If you're living for your kids, you're making a big mistake. And I know that sounds contradictory, but let me understand. You still have to be you. You still have to know who you are. And your job as a parent, is to prepare your child for the world. You're not going to be here forever. Your job is to prepare them for the world. So there are times you want to be their friend, but you can't, because you got to be a parent. You know? And never, ever, ever let your child blame you and make you feel guilty for parenting them. I've seen it a lot. I see it all the time. All the time. There are lots of kids out there that will make their parents feel guilty for parenting them. But you got to know the type of parent you want to be, you know? You got to know that. And then you got to stick to your guns. You got to stick to your guns. So, being a selfish parent, you know, it's not fully about your kids. It's about you preparing them, because I need them to be able to function and operate and be a contributing member to the world. You know, you want them to be in good spirits. You want them to have a positive mindset. You want them to have, you know, strong will, strong determination, and be able to have critical thinking skills and work through things. So I look at being a selfish parent as, I want to do my best to prepare my kids, you know. But I don't want to live for my kids to where I'm hindering them from growing, where I'm coddling them from growing, where they're not learning life lessons because I'm doing the work for them. You know, don't do that. Don't do that. So yeah, you know, fatherhood is an interesting job, but I would never trade it for anything in the world. Yeah. So yeah, for you guys, understand out there, have a good idea type of dad you want to be. You know, like, it's amazing. If you put in the time, the energy, and the effort, the rewards is priceless. It's priceless. So I want you guys to do some self-reflection, thinking about the type of father you want to be, how you want to raise a child, you know. But also keep in mind, you gotta co-parent too. Whether you're married or not married, you're still co-parenting. So be the type of father that understands the grand scheme of things, the bigger picture. You know, it's not about you. It's not about you. So with that being said, guys, that's all I got. I want you guys to be chill out there, be relaxed, have an awesome day. You know, tune into the Modified Gentleman. I'm gonna have more tips and tools and tactics and strategies for you guys to help you guys understand these concepts in life. You know, simple concepts in life with a different take on it. So, guys, take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.